Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to talk about one of the most fascinating coins in American history, the 1944 1-cent coin from the United States, also known as the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny. This coin is more than just a piece of old change. It carries history, it has varieties that can be rare and valuable, and it is a favorite among coin collectors all around the world. Whether you are a new collector, a long-time numismatist, or someone curious about the history of coins, the 1944 penny has something interesting for you. The story of the 1944 penny begins during World War II. In 1943, the US Mint faced a shortage of copper because the military needed it for ammunition and war supplies. As a result, the Mint made pennies out of zinc-coated steel for that year. However, those steel cents created many problems. They rusted easily, they were often mistaken for dimes, and people didn't like them in circulation. That is why in 1944, the Mint returned to making pennies out of copper. Most of these 1944 pennies were made from recycled shell casings collected from a war effort, which is why some collectors call them shell case cents. This gives the 1944 penny not only monetary value but also historical importance, since each coin is tied to the events of World War II. The design of the 1944 penny is the classic Lincoln wheat design created by Victor David Brenner in 1909. On the front, or obverse, you see the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the word liberty on the left, the date 1944 on the right, and the phrase "In God we trust" above. On the reverse, you find two wheat ears, the denomination 1 cent, and the words United States of America, along with the motto E pluribus unum. This wheat design was used from 1909 until 1958, making it one of the most recognizable American coin designs. Now let's talk about mintages. The 1944 penny was made in very large numbers. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 1 billion 1944 pennies, making it one of the highest production years ever. These coins have no mint mark. The Denver Mint struck over 430 million pennies, and those can be identified by the small d mint mark under the date. The San Francisco Mint struck over 282 million, marked with an S below the date. Because of these huge mintages, the 1944 penny is considered common overall. However, condition and errors are what make certain coins far more valuable. One of the most famous and rare errors of the 1944 penny is the steel cent. Although pennies in 1944 were supposed to be made of copper, a few leftover steel planchets from 1943 were accidentally used. These steel pennies are extremely rare and valuable. If you find a 1944 penny that looks grey or silver in color and it sticks to a magnet, you may have a steel cent. These coins have sold for tens of thousands of dollars depending on condition, making them a dream find for collectors. Besides the steel cent, there are also off-metal errors where 1944 pennies were struck on the wrong type of metal or even foreign coin blanks. These are incredibly rare and can be worth thousands. There are also varieties such as doubled dies and repunched mint marks, especially on the 1944 D penny. Collectors are always on the lookout for these small differences that increase a coin's rarity. For most 1944 pennies, the value depends on the mint mark and the condition. A heavily circulated penny is usually worth just a few cents more than face value, because there are so many of them. However, uncirculated pennies with bright red color and sharp details are far more desirable. A 1944 penny graded in mint state condition, especially MS65 or higher, can be worth between $20 and $100 or more. Collectors also pay higher prices for coins with original red luster, while coins that have turned brown over time are less valuable. It is important to understand grading when talking about coin values. Coins are judged based on wear, strike quality, luster, and color. A brown 1944 penny with lots of wear may be worth very little, while a red mint state example can bring in strong prices at auctions or coin shows. For beginners, the 1944 penny is a perfect example of how condition makes a big difference in value. The Philadelphia minted coin is the most common. Circulated examples are usually just worth face value, while uncirculated ones can bring a few dollars. The Denver 1944 D penny is also common, but high-grade coins and coins with mint mark errors can be worth more. The San Francisco 1944 S penny is slightly less common and sometimes carries a higher premium in uncirculated grades. Collectors often enjoy putting together sets of all three mint marks from 1944, and it is affordable for most people unless you are chasing rare varieties. One of the things that makes the 1944 penny special is how it connects people to history. These coins were made from recycled wartime materials. They circulated during an important era in America, and they remain in coin collections today as reminders of the past. For many people, the 1944 penny is one of the first old coins they find in circulation, which sparks an interest in collecting. So if you have a 1944 penny, take a close look at it. Check the mint mark. Look for any signs of doubling or unusual features. Test it with a magnet to rule out the possibility of having one of those rare steel cents. Even if your coin is common, it still represents a piece of history that is over 80 years old. And if you are lucky enough to find a rare variety, you could have a coin worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The 1944 1-cent coin from the United States is more than just a small piece of copper. It is history, it is collectible, and it is valuable to people who love coins. From its wartime background to its design, from its huge mintage numbers to its rare errors, this coin continues to capture the imagination of collectors everywhere. First up, today we will talk in detail about the 1-cent coin from the United States dated 1945. The 1945 Lincoln wheat penny is one of the most collected coins in American numismatic history, and in this video I will give you a full 20 minutes of detailed information, history, facts, values, varieties, errors, mintage numbers, and collector demand for this historic coin. If you are interested in coin collecting, coin values, rare pennies, and especially the 1945 1-cent coin from the United States, then stay with me until the end because this will be a complete guide. The 1945 1-cent coin from the United States is part of the famous Lincoln wheat cent series, which was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln wheat penny replaced the Indian head cent and became one of the longest-running coin designs in United States history. The obverse side shows a portrait of Abraham Lincoln, while the reverse side has two wheat stalks, one on each side, surrounding the words 1 cent and United States of America. Now, the year 1945 is particularly interesting. This was the last year of World War II, and the United States Mint produced large numbers of coins for circulation. For the 1945 Lincoln wheat cent, the Mint struck coins at 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint produced the most, with over 1 billion coins, while Denver produced more than 266 million, and San Francisco produced around 181 million. Altogether, the 1945 1-cent coin had a huge mintage, which makes it a common coin in circulated condition even today. However, coin collectors know that even common coins can have special value depending on their condition, mint mark, or errors. That is why the 1945 1-cent coin remains very popular. Most circulated examples are only worth a few cents to maybe a few dollars, but higher grade coins, uncirculated examples, and coins with errors can be worth much more. Let's talk about value. The average circulated 1945 penny without a mint mark, meaning from Philadelphia, is usually worth between 3 cents and 50 cents. If it is in uncirculated condition with a bright red surface, then the value can go up to several dollars, often between $5 and $20 depending on the grade. For the 1945 D penny from Denver, the value is similar, but high-grade examples in mint state can sometimes sell for higher prices. The 1945 S penny from San Francisco is also common, but collectors still like to find them in top condition with full original red luster. When we talk about top grades, coins certified by grading services such as PCGS or NGC can reach impressive prices. For example, 1945 pennies graded MS67 red or higher are considered condition rarities, because very few coins survive in such pristine state after so many years. Some of these have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction. This is why collectors always search through their pennies, hoping to find one in excellent condition. Now, one of the most fascinating parts of the 1945 1-cent coin is the possibility of errors and varieties. During the minting process, mistakes sometimes happened, and those mistakes created error coins that are highly collectible today. Some known errors for the 1945 wheat penny include off-center strikes, double die obverses, repunched mint marks, clipped planchets, and die cracks. Each of these errors can greatly increase the value of the coin. For example, a 1945 penny with a noticeable double die on the obverse, where the letters or numbers show doubling, can sell for hundreds of dollars depending on visibility and condition. Repunched mint marks, especially on the 1945D and 1945S, are also popular among collectors. Off-center strikes where part of the design is missing because the planchette was not properly aligned can also bring significant premiums. The history behind the 1945 penny is also worth mentioning. Because the war ended in 1945, These coins represent a time when America was shifting from war production back to peacetime industry. Just 2 years earlier, in 1943, the US Mint had to make steel cents because copper was needed for the war. By 1945, the Mint was once again producing cents in the usual bronze alloy, made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. That is why the 1945 penny has that traditional reddish-brown color. Collectors often like to put the 1945 penny into context with other coins from the 1940s. The 1943 steel cent is a famous oddity, and the 1944 through 1946 pennies are interesting because of their high mintages and occasional errors. The 1945 penny is one of those coins that most collectors can find easily, making it a great starter coin for beginners, but it can also become a high-value piece if found in top grade or with a rare error. If you are wondering how to identify whether your 1945 penny is valuable, the key things to check are the mint mark, the condition, and whether there are any visible errors. Look closely at the year, the lettering, and the mint mark. Use a magnifying glass if possible. Coins with sharp details, full original color, and no wear are always more valuable. If the coin looks unique or different, it might be worth showing to a coin dealer or submitting for grading. Another thing collectors consider is the color designation: brown, red-brown, or red. Over time, copper coins like the 1945 penny change color. Most circulated pennies are brown. If the coin has some original mint red luster mixed with brown, it is called red-brown. If the coin still has full red color, like it did when it left the mint, it is called red. Red coins are the most valuable, especially in higher grades. The 1945 penny is also popular for coin roll hunting. Many collectors search through rolls of pennies from banks, hoping to find wheat cents, including the 1945. While most finds will be in circulated condition, sometimes collectors get lucky and find higher grade examples. Because of the large number of coins struck in 1945, they are still widely available. This means that every coin collector in the United States likely has at least one 1945 wheat penny in their collection. But the challenge is finding the best preserved example. That is why grading, condition, and rarity of errors play such an important role. Now let's summarize the key points about the 1945 1-cent coin from the United States. It is a Lincoln wheat cent, struck in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. It has a high mintage, making it common in circulated condition, but it can still be valuable in mint state grades, especially with full red color. Errors and varieties such as double dies, repunched mint marks, and off-center strikes make it even more desirable. The coin's composition is 95% copper, 5% tin and zinc, and it represents an important time in American history, the final year of World War II. So if you come across a 1945 penny in your pocket change or coin collection, take the time to examine it carefully. Even though most are common, you never know when you might discover a rare high-grade example or a valuable error. That is the excitement of coin collecting, and the 1945 1-cent coin from the United States is a perfect example of why collectors love this hobby. Next up today we are going to talk in detail about the 1-cent coin from the United States minted in 1951 at the San Francisco Mint, also known as the 1951 Lincoln wheat penny. If you are a coin collector, a coin enthusiast, or someone who is just beginning to explore the history of United States coins, this video will give you all the information you need about the 1951 South Wheat Center, including its history, design, mintage numbers, errors, varieties, and values in different conditions. Stay with me until the end because we will cover everything that makes this coin so interesting and collectible. The 1951 South 1-center coin is part of the Lincoln Wheat Cent series that was first introduced in 1909. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse features the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, while the reverse shows 2 wheat ears, symbolizing prosperity and abundance, with the words 1 cent and United States of America. The motto E pluribus unum appears at the top, and on the obverse you also see In God We Trust and Liberty along with the date, in this case 1951, with a small s mint mark underneath it, indicating it was struck at the San Francisco Mint. When it comes to mintage, the 1951 penny had a fairly large production. Over 136 million examples were struck at the San Francisco Mint in 1951, making it a common coin in circulation at the time. However, even though it is common in circulated grades, finding higher grade examples with full red original mint luster is much more difficult, and those coins are what collectors really prize. This is why condition plays such an important role in the value of the 1951 South Lincoln Center. In circulated grades, such as good, very good, fine, and very fine, The 1951 S penny is worth only a few cents, maybe around 5 to 15 cents depending on the exact grade and the current coin market. But when you move into higher uncirculated grades like Mint State 63 Red, Mint State 65 Red, or even Mint State 67 Red, the value increases significantly. A nice uncirculated 1951 South Wheat Center with strong details and bright red color can be worth several dollars, and in top condition, certified examples can bring hundreds of dollars at auction. This is why coin grading is so important for wheat pennies like the 1951 S. Another factor that adds value to the 1951 S penny is the presence of errors and varieties. Collectors are always on the lookout for double dies, repunched mint marks, die cracks, die chips, and off-center strikes. One of the more popular varieties for this year is the 1951 S repunched mint mark, often referred to as RPM. These varieties occur when the mint mark was punched into the die more than once and can show as overlapping or shadow-like S marks. Some repunched mint marks for the 1951 S are more dramatic and command higher premiums. If you ever find a 1951 S penny with an error such as an off-center strike, a die break, or a striking anomaly, you could have a coin worth far more than the standard value. Collectors love unique error coins because they stand out from regular issues and tell a story about the minting process. Always check your wheat cents carefully under magnification to spot any unusual details. Now let's talk about collecting the 1951 S penny in relation to the entire wheat cent series. The 1951 S is not considered a key date or a semi-key date coin because the mintage is relatively high. However, it is still a necessary coin for completing a full Lincoln wheat penny collection, which covers the years from 1909 to 1958. For someone working on a year and mint mark set, the 1951 S is an essential piece. Collectors who want coins with great eye appeal usually seek out examples with strong strike, full detail in Lincoln's hair and beard, and bright red color. Another interesting aspect of the 1951 South Wheat Center is its composition. Like all Lincoln cents from 1909 through 1982, except for the steel cents of 1943, the 1951 S is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. Because of this high copper content, each coin has intrinsic metal value, although not enough to make it profitable to melt down, since that is also illegal. The rich copper composition also gives older wheat cents their beautiful toning and sometimes rainbow colors when they have been stored for decades. Collectors often pay premiums for attractively toned coins. If you are collecting the 1951 S penny today, you should consider whether you want to collect circulated examples, uncirculated examples, or certified coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC. Certified coins give you the peace of mind of authenticity and guarantee of grade, which can be very helpful when you are paying higher prices for top-quality coins. Let's also compare the 1951 S to its Philadelphia and Denver counterparts from the same year. In 1951, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 284 million pennies without a mint mark, and the Denver Mint struck over 625 million pennies with the D mint mark. So while the San Francisco mintage of 136 million is smaller, it is still not considered rare. However, San Francisco mint coins often have slightly weaker strikes compared to Denver and Philadelphia, which is something collectors take into account. Values for these coins can also differ based on the mint. Generally, the 1951 D is the most common and easiest to find in high grade, while the 1951 S is a little scarcer in gem condition. That is why some collectors are willing to pay more for a high-grade 1951 S penny compared to a 1951 D. As we go deeper into the world of wheat pennies, we see that every date and mint mark combination has its own story, its own varieties, and its own market demand. The 1951 S is a great example of a coin that is common overall but becomes valuable when found in top condition or with rare errors. This makes it a fun coin for collectors at all levels, from beginners searching through rolls of pennies to advanced collectors building high-grade sets. If you are searching for 1951 S pennies, a good place to start is coin shops, coin shows, online auctions, and coin roll hunting. Even though it's been many decades since 1951, wheat cents are still commonly found in circulation, especially in old jars, boxes, or collections passed down through families. You never know when you might stumble upon a hidden treasure. Remember, the key to coin collecting is patience, knowledge, and attention to detail. The more you study coins like the 1951 South Wheat Center, the better you will become at spotting quality pieces and valuable varieties. This will help you build a collection that not only has financial value but also historical and personal meaning. So to summarize, the 1951 South 1 center coin from the United States is part of the beloved Lincoln Wheat Penny series, struck at the San Francisco Mint with over 136 million pieces minted. While common in circulation, it can be quite valuable in higher mint state grades, especially with full red luster. Error coins and repunched mint marks add extra excitement and value for collectors. Whether you are a beginner or an experienced numismatist, the 1951 penny is a coin worth studying and adding to your collection. Next up, today we will be talking about the 1-cent coin from the United States minted in the year 1952 with the D mint mark, also known as the 1952 D Lincoln wheat penny. This coin is an important part of American coinage history, and it continues to attract collectors, investors, and anyone interested in rare United States coins. In this video, I'm going to take you through every detail you need to know about the 1952 D penny, including its history, design, mintage, errors, varieties, values, and why it remains so popular among collectors today. So let's dive deep into the world of the 1952 D 1-cent coin. The 1952 D wheat penny was minted in Denver, which is what the D mint mark stands for. At that time, the Lincoln cent was still following the wheat reverse design created by Victor David Brenner in 1909. On the obverse, or front, of the coin, you will see the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. Above his head is the motto "In God We Trust." To the left side is the word liberty, and to the right side, you will find the year 1952 with the D mint mark placed just below the date. On the reverse, you will see the famous wheat ears that give the coin its popular nickname wheat penny. Between the two wheat stalks is the denomination 1 cent, and above that is the phrase E pluribus unum. The country name United States of America is also boldly displayed. The history of the Lincoln wheat penny is fascinating. It was first issued in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The design was considered groundbreaking at the time because it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, and that person was none other than Abraham Lincoln, one of the most respected presidents in history. By 1952, the coin had already been in circulation for over 4 decades and was a trusted symbol of American values. The Denver Mint played a major role in producing a large quantity of these coins, making sure there were enough for everyday commerce in the United States. When we talk about mintage numbers, the 1952 D penny had an extremely high production run. Over 746 million coins were struck at the Denver Mint in that year alone. Because of this large mintage, the 1952 D penny is not considered a rare coin in average circulated condition. Most examples are worth only a few cents above face value if they are heavily circulated. However, the story changes dramatically when we look at coins in high grades, especially those with strong strikes, brilliant red color, or rare mint errors. Collectors often seek out coins that are uncirculated, showing their original luster, and these can bring much higher values. Now let's talk about condition and grading. The value of a 1952 D wheat penny depends heavily on its grade. Coins are graded on a scale from poor to mint state, with uncirculated coins often commanding the highest prices. A heavily worn example might only be worth around 2 to 5 cents, while an uncirculated red penny in mint state 65 or higher could be worth several dollars or more depending on demand. Coins with full red surfaces are especially desirable because copper tends to tone and darken over time. Finding a bright, red 1952 D penny that has never been exposed to much handling is always exciting for collectors. Errors and varieties are also very important when it comes to this coin. Collectors love looking for mistakes that occurred during the minting process. Some known errors for the 1952 D penny include off-center strikes, die cracks, die breaks, repunched mint marks, and double dies. For example, a repunched mint mark, often called RPM, can be seen when the letter D was punched more than once into the die, creating a doubling effect on the mint mark. These error coins can be worth many times more than regular examples, depending on the type and visibility of the error. Some dramatic off-center strikes can even fetch higher premiums because they are visually striking and rare. Another thing to keep in mind is that many collectors focus on building complete Lincoln wheat cent collections, which include every year and every mint mark. The 1952 D is an essential piece of that puzzle, which helps keep its demand steady in the numismatic market. Even though it is not the rarest penny out there, its role in completing a set makes it valuable to a lot of people. This demand ensures that the coin will always hold at least some collectible value, especially in higher grades or with unique characteristics. The legacy of the wheat penny also adds to the appeal of the 1952 D cent. The wheat design was eventually replaced in 1959 with the Lincoln Memorial reverse, marking the end of an era. Collectors appreciate coins like the 1952 D because they represent that earlier period of American coinage. Each coin tells a story about the economic conditions, the minting technology, and the cultural values of the time. Holding a 1952 D penny in your hand connects you to history, whether it's thinking about the post-World War II era, the growth of America in the early 1950s, or the everyday people who use these coins in their daily lives. When it comes to collecting strategy, many numismatists recommend looking for the best quality you can afford. If you want to invest in a 1952 D penny, aim for coins in uncirculated condition with bright red luster. Pay attention to the details of the strike, the sharpness of Lincoln's portrait, and the clarity of the wheat stalks. If you are interested in errors, make sure you study the varieties and learn how to identify genuine ones. With millions of coins produced, there are plenty of opportunities to find nice examples, but the challenge is in locating the gems that stand out from the rest. The 1952 D penny is also a great conversation starter. Many people recognize wheat pennies from their childhood or from coins they found in old jars or drawers. While most of these coins are not extremely valuable, they are still treasures of American history. For new collectors, starting with coins like the 1952 D wheat penny is a great way to learn about the hobby, about grading, and about the fascinating world of US coins. So whether you are a beginner just discovering the beauty of Lincoln wheat pennies, or an advanced collector searching for high-grade examples and rare errors, the 1952 D 1-cent coin from the United States deserves your attention. Its historical significance, its connection to Abraham Lincoln, its large mintage, and its collectible varieties make it an important coin to study and appreciate. Now we will explore and, today we are going to talk in detail about the 1-cent coin from the United States dated 1953 D. This coin is part of the famous Lincoln wheat penny series, also called the Lincoln wheat cent, which was minted from 1909 to 1958. The 1953 D penny is a very interesting coin for collectors, investors, and anyone who loves American history. It was struck at the Denver Mint, and the small D mint mark right below the date on the obverse side of the coin identifies it as coming from Denver. This particular coin has a large mintage, but despite its high production numbers, many people are still fascinated by its history, design, errors, and value. The obverse side of the 1953 D 1-cent coin features the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. Victor David Brenner designed this portrait back in 1909 to honor the centennial of Lincoln's birth. The words "In God We Trust" appear above Lincoln's head, the word "Liberty" is placed to the left, and the year 1953 appears to the right of the portrait along with the small letter D mint mark for Denver. The reverse side of this coin shows the famous wheat stalk design, with two wheat ears framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. The phrase "e pluribus unum," meaning out of many, one, is at the top. This design is why the coin is called the Lincoln wheat penny. Now let's talk about the mintage and production. The Denver Mint struck more than 700 million examples of the 1953 D penny. Because of this huge mintage, the coin is not considered rare in circulated condition. In fact, you can often find these coins in old coin jars, inherited collections, or even in pocket change, though it is much less common today compared to decades ago. What really makes the 1953 D penny valuable to collectors are its condition, rarity in high grades, and possible minting errors. In circulated condition, most 1953 D pennies are only worth a few cents above face value. They are common, and millions still exist. However, when you look at higher uncirculated grades, especially coins graded mint state 65 or higher, the value can increase significantly. Red examples, which have retained their original copper luster without toning or discoloration, are the most desirable. Brown examples are the least valuable, and red-brown coins fall somewhere in the middle. Collectors often pay a premium for coins with strong luster, no spots, and minimal contact marks. When we look at the 1953 D penny in mint state condition, especially with a bright red color, prices can range from several dollars to even hundreds of dollars depending on the grade. A perfect example graded MS67 red can sell for a very high price at auction because it is rare to find coins from this mintage in such pristine condition. Some of the top examples have crossed into four-figure territory when certified by leading grading companies like PCGS or NGC. Another fascinating aspect of the 1953 D penny is its variety and error coins. Collectors always search for doubled dies, repunched mint marks, die cracks, and off-center strikes. For this year, one of the more notable collectible varieties is the repunched D mint mark. In some examples, you can see where the mint mark was punched more than once, leaving a doubled or shadowed D under magnification. These coins can be worth much more than a regular 1953D penny, depending on the clarity of the error and the condition of the coin. Off-center strikes, die breaks, and clipped planchets are also attractive to error coin enthusiasts, with prices ranging from a few dollars to much higher for dramatic errors. Let's also put this coin into historical context. The year 1953 was during the post-World War II era in the United States. Dwight D. Eisenhower had just become president, the Korean War had recently ended, and the US economy was growing. During this time, pennies were still an important part of daily commerce. People used them frequently for everyday purchases, unlike today where inflation has reduced the value of the cent. This makes the 1953D penny a nostalgic reminder of mid-20th century America. Another factor that affects the value of the 1953D penny is how it is stored and preserved. Copper coins are especially vulnerable to environmental damage. Exposure to air, moisture, and handling can turn bright red coins into brown ones over time. Collectors who want to preserve the value of their 1953D wheat penny should store it in protective holders, avoid cleaning the coin, and keep it in a cool, dry environment. Cleaning a coin can actually reduce its value dramatically, even if the intention was to make it look shiny. Original surfaces are always more valuable to collectors. The popularity of the Lincoln Wheat Penny series also plays a role in why people collect the 1953D penny. Since the series ran from 1909 to 1958, many collectors attempt to build a complete set. This means they need at least one example from every year and mint mark. While the 1953D is not the rarest date, it is still necessary to complete a set, which keeps demand steady. For new collectors, this coin is often an affordable way to start. For advanced collectors, finding the highest grade examples can be a real challenge and an exciting part of the hobby. Now let's compare the 1953D penny with the other 1953 issues. In addition to Denver, pennies were also struck at the Philadelphia and San Francisco mints. The Philadelphia coins do not have a mint mark, while the San Francisco coins carry an S. In general, the 1953D penny had the highest mintage, making it the most common of the three. However, all 1953 pennies are collected with equal enthusiasm, and each has its own varieties and errors that attract attention. For investors and collectors, the 1953D penny can be both a learning tool and a collectible asset. It teaches beginners about mint marks, coin grading, and the importance of condition. For experienced numismatists, it offers opportunities to hunt for top-grade coins and rare error varieties. Whether someone is buying it for a few cents as a starter coin or thousands of dollars for a top-graded example, it has a place in the numismatic market. In summary, the 1953D 1-cent coin from the United States is a piece of history, a collectible, and a reminder of a time when pennies had more everyday value. Its design honors Abraham Lincoln, its wheat reverse carries symbolic meaning, and its varieties and errors make it an exciting coin to study. While common in circulated grades, it can become quite valuable in higher grades or with notable minting errors. Collectors should focus on preserving these coins, learning how to grade them, and appreciating the story they tell about America in the 1950s.